What is something America does great? National parks. Providing free GPS to everyone. Theme parks. My parents used to take me on holiday to Florida as kid every year when I was 9 through to about 15 years of age, visiting places like Disney World, Universal Studios, Busch Gardens, and the Kennedy Space Center was amazing and in parts like being on another planet. Making public buildings/spaces handicap accessible. CGI in movies. Junk food in general is top-notch. Deep dish pizza, bacon cheeseburgers, bacon and cheese fries, hot dogs etc. Been to America 4 times and have always found the people to be extremely welcoming and warm towards me. The customer experience. The scale of it. Wanna rent a car? Here's a paved field full of them, pick one. Candy? We've got 50 flavors, just in case. The trust. If you come from a developing country, you'll know what I mean. You can serve yourself soda, they trust most people won't take it for free, and the low marginal cost will compensate for those few who will. The diversity of supply. You need a cat psychotherapist? Here's a bunch of them that live in your county, sorted by client rating. I guess most of the stuff I mentioned comes with being a developed country, but the US feels like it's in its own league. I was baffled when I visited. We're great at chatting you up. I've never met you before, but I want to know all about how your trip is going, and how long you're planning to stay, and what you've seen so far. Business ventures. If I have an idea for a business, I can go to City Hall and get a license for $25, where I live. Now I'm in business. Space exploration. Barbecue. I've seen what passes for barbecue in Europe and it's so sad. General hospitality in person. I say in person because don't lie, we're all pricks online at times. Fast food, truly a disgustingly magnificent art form. The interstate highway system specifically, and how affordable and accessible automobile travel is to the masses in general. Film industry is leagues ahead of everyone else. As a Canadian, I love the people. Americans are always so warm, friendly, and welcoming when I tell them that I am Canadian. Great hospitality every time I go there. I think America has the best looking trucks. Coca-Cola. Sometimes war. We are undefeated at Super Bowl World Championships. Beyond what the jokers in this thread are already saying, the US public library and mail systems are both really well run and easily accessible, when the leaders of them aren't actively sabotaging it /cough de joy cough /. Win the Stanley Cup. The Olympics. The US has a ton of advantages. Hey, thanks for this post. It made me smile because to me lately Reddit has felt a lot like, America is just a shithole where shit gets fucked and it's nice for once to read nice things about us. Homeownership. Nowhere in Europe or elsewhere people are owning their homes at such early age. Many are renting for life. Respect tourists. People coming to the US don't have to worry about 2 separate exchange rates or shop owners trying to scam them because they are tourists. You don't get the "okay now watch out for people on the street offering you something, because you're a tourist here." If someone offers you something because you're not local, for the most part it's a genuine attempt to give you a good experience, whereas people coming back from Europe often talk about dodging scams. Barbecue. Tech companies. We will cross a frozen river at night to kill an enemy army in their sleep. On Christmas. We have done it before. Variety in grocery stores. As long as you live in a top 1000 city/town, you will be able to purchase ingredients to make literally any type of cuisine that exists in the world. Feeding the world. The US provides as much international food aid as every other country combined. Diversity in every meaning of the word. culture, food, people. In my freshman dorm suite in college, we had a Pakistani immigrant, me, international Korean student, first-generation Mexican-American. Music. Rock, jazz, blues, rap, salsa if you count PR as the US, disco, funk, electronic, vaporwave, etc. Ease of doing business. I would say pride, both positively and negatively if that makes sense. I remember Stephen Fry once talked about the difference between American and British comedy, and he said that in American sitcoms, the lead character is the hero, he's the one that gets the girl, the one that smashes someone else's guitar like in Animal House, whereas a UK sitcom lead character is the loser like David Brent, the guy that always ends up back at square one. So in that way, I think Americans are great at being proud and loving themselves. If they did something good they make sure you know it, and deservingly so. On the other hand, that pride is also a double-edged sword, as when Americans are wrong, that pride can be painful for them and everyone else. It can easily morph into self-delusion of being infallible. Turning right on a red light. Every country should adopt it. UK obs turn left. French fries LOL. Soda. I have to order it into Scotland, much more expensive but so worth it. Freedom of speech. Food. You walk for 5 minutes in New York and you find a bagel shop. Walk another 5 minutes you find sushi. Another 5 you find food from some mysterious European country you've never heard of and doesn't show on any map. I've heard it's similar in Chicago. Movies. We have the best movies. Fried foods. You ever have a twice deep-fried Twinkie covered in chocolate? I have. Self-defense laws. It is ridiculous how here in Australia you can be charged if someone breaks into your home and attacks your wife and kids and you try to stop them. You don't even have to hurt the guy, just putting your hands on him could get you charged. Barbecue, Hollywood, and national parks. Somehow persisting though chaos. Medical research, by far. Of course the reason for this is there is ton of money in it, which translates to the vast majority of cutting-edge treatment options are out of reach for 99% of us. The Brits deserve an honorable mention, but nobody beats America at rock and roll. Capitalism. By that, I mean if you have an idea or something you want to purchase, within reason, it'll soon be marketed. In the new Borat movie, there is this scene where at the beginning of lockdown Borat asks 2 strangers if he can stay at their place. The strangers take him in and they live together during a pandemic. The guys were revealed to be conspiracy-spouting Trump supporters, but they were so warm and welcoming to Borat. At the end of the film, you actually feel like they became genuinely attached to Borat. As a non-American I found this really surprising since they were Trump supporters. That to me is what America is. A beautiful mess of contradictions. Despite its many flaws, I do think our Constitution, Bills of Rights, and court system can do a lot of good in the right hands. Freedom of speech, have never seen such freedom of speech laws. Like you can literally burn an American flag without any legal repercussions. Protects speech. No other country goes quite as far in protecting it from government consequences. Basketball. A lot of things actually. The media just focus on the bad things so much that I find it hard to remember all the good things now. I know it's there, I'm just constantly being told otherwise. Food. Your food is always very flavorsome, and the portions are massive. Always had a pretty good rap game. Despite its political and social flaws, I've heard America is known to make some damn good barbecue. On the surface, this may seem like a dumb answer, but I would say overcoming adversity. First off, I can't think of a nation this large that's filled with this many different races and subcultures. And yes, we've had a history of prejudice and withholding rights, but we're getting over it. In a world where there are countries that still oppress women and minorities far worse than we do, I think that's noted progress on our part. Second, we've done it in incredible time. Some nations have had literally thousands of years of existence. We have like 2 to 3 centuries in which we've done what we've done. It's been quick, whether it felt like it or not. Science. Most of the top universities in the world are in the US. Furthermore, most of the top scientific journals are in the US. The UK gets an honorable mention. If we extend that a bit, you can honestly say that 95% of the reputable scientific journals in the world are based in the US or the UK. Of course, there's a million more in China, but there's a reason most scientists avoid those journals like the plague. I've heard that the best hospitals in the entire world are in Boston, Massachusetts. Guns. Sandwiches. Space. Guitars. America produces some of the best guitars in the world: Gibson, Fender, Jackson. I went to school in the US, a small Midwest college, and I was blown away by the friendliness and helpfulness of the people. The anti-Americanism is so pervasive on the internet that even on a post explicitly asking what America does great, many people are still relying on stereotypes and generalizations to portray the country in a negative light. I guarantee that if this question was asked about any other country, the ratio of positive to negative comments would be nowhere close. Our music. So many iconic artists come from America. Individuality. Notwithstanding the fact that still having states in 2020 is absolutely bonkers, they have all managed to maintain their sovereignty and a distinct identity. IMO, the best and worst thing about the US is that it's 50 tiny nations coming together to make their tiny nations better. Hollywood. We got that, right? Software, rock and roll, and high-speed pizza delivery. The strongest free speech laws in the world. Research. Despite the high cost of university and the way unis treat professors and students, we somehow still come out as number 1 on making cool discoveries. Hamburgers. Winning the Super Bowl. Convenience. I can choose, right now, at 10 in the morning, to get a pizza delivered from 4 different places. Or maybe I want some McDonald's, Bojangles, and Wendy's all delivered on Uber Eats, DoorDash, and Postmates. Or the Dollar General is literally 4 minutes down my road one way and 7 the opposite way. They're actually everywhere. This is in mainly rural North Carolina, not even a city. American Disabilities Act. I know there's a lot to criticize about accessibility, but America is light years ahead of pretty much every other country. No caveats in free speech laws like in Europe. I'm not really sure how to out this in words. But quality of life? Our houses are huge and cheap, everywhere except megacities. We have ice galore. When I went to EU it was so weird not having ice or extremely cold water. Our food is cheap and plentiful, most of the times too plentiful. And people are generally very nice. I don't think quality of life is the correct way to describe these things, but I hope you know what I'm saying. Craft beer is incredible here. Buying fuel for cars. $2 per gallon compared to 1 per liter. So much cheaper. You also have to pay first then fuel your car, great way to stop fuel theft. It's opposite in the UK. You fuel then pay. Supposed to be based on trust and honesty. Some people don't have that, and fuel theft is common over here. Wished we charged by a gallon. Oh, I wish. We are really good at stats in sports. We really care about stats. Entertainment. Standard of living, our poor are wealthier than many places on earth. We are the most generous country in the world. We have hospital ships that visit countries that provide aid to small island nations free of charge to them. Operation Christmas Drop is the longest-running humanitarian aid mission to date. I was lucky to take part. Produce Americans, far more than any other nation. They will always be the absolute best at this. Barbecue, goddamn sweet delicious juicy barbecue. Buffalo wings. Cheesesteaks. Pickup trucks. Baseball. Peanuts. Hip-hop. Star Wars. Beautiful scenery especially in the Midwest. Well, as a American L got to say, outside of the cities people are usually very nice. Of course you're going to find some assholes, but most people are nice. The American English language. Maybe not so much the abuse of it, seeing how many people I've encountered who don't know proper grammar, but the actual language itself. I find American English easier to both speak and understand than British English. And in some cases specific words make more sense to me in American rather than in British, such as chips versus crisps. If my grammar is wrong anywhere, my excuse is that it's my third language, but I apologize nonetheless. Edit. I'm also very fond of the relatively heavy use of commas in written sentences. I can't even count the amount of times I've gotten shit for adding too many commas and writing my sentences too long when writing in Swedish, because we don't do that here. Stock market. I once took a biomedical ethics class. As sketchy as their system is, not insuring everybody and such, the research is the best in the world all around. Lots of countries have experts that specialize in the same field, but the USA has enough people specializing in everything, and enough incentive to keep that train moving, that they're pretty much the best at every type of medical research. Basic scientific research is huge in the US. Valuing merits more than other countries, at least in academia, high-paying professions. The US has allowed citizens and foreigners to compete for the same jobs/opportunities simultaneously. There is some degree of preference for American citizens, of course, but nowhere as harsh as other first world countries. Other first world countries always prioritizes all of their citizens for jobs, only when there is no citizen available would they take a foreigner. That means that they always hire their citizens first, even when they're less qualified than foreigners. The US is different. I love this merit-based system. Because of this, we've attracted talents from all over the world who want to call the USA home. Metal music. Even though my favorites still come mostly from Finland, there are some great bands coming from the US of A, like Death, Cannibal Corpse, Suffocation, Toxic Holocaust, Shadow of Intent, Warbringer, etc. The speed and quality of healthcare, it costs a lot, but it's really good. We have the Minuteman, a rapidly deploying militia trooper, and the B-17, which suffers less damage from interception than other bombers of its time. Stand-up comedy. Yes, I'm aware that other countries have great stand-up comedians as well, lol. However, no matter who you name, I'll rebut with Dave Chappelle, Louis C.K., Richard Pryor, Bill Burr, George Carlin, etc. etc. Food. Granted, I've only been in like 2 countries, but the US has some really good food. Probably not the healthiest foods around, but I am so willing to take that hit to my health for some good barbecue or burger. Haven't been able to satisfy my cravings for good mashed potatoes and gravy for over a decade now since I left the US. Affordable muscle cars. Free refills. Briskets. I really appreciate the things people are saying in this thread. I just hear negativity coming from every corner of the media, and this is just such a nice change. I understand that we have issues, but some of these comments and experiences people are having are awesome. We make a heck of a pickup truck.